Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump, and what does it have to do with Connecticut? But what do you think of? Because we're supposedly like in a nation. I mean, his school got 13th place in the Iowas, but as a nation, I mean, who knows who runs these statistics or the polls, but we're like what 25th or 26th in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you think of the educational system?
There's no competition. To me, the biggest problem in education is, well, two things. One, we're expecting, because we have so much broken homes now, they say 70% of children are born to single parents. So you don't have a mother and a father raising a kid, supporting the kid, teaching the kid. So that's a problem. Then you send them to school, and we expect the schools to feed them, to be social workers. It's everything but and teach them. You know, it used to be a teacher's job was to teach your kid how to read, write, and do math, not to teach them what his moral values should be, not to teach him, not to worry about whether or not he's getting beat up at home and all this other stuff that we now expect teachers to do. But the big problem is there's no competition. How good would the restaurant business be if there was only one restaurant and that's where you had to eat?
And that's leading to my second question is that well, I have more than a few questions, but I mean, shouldn't you be able to write off the tax money if the child is sent to a private school? And also, if they
well, there's a big movement in Connecticut that you ought to get involved in.
I mean, you notice that they closed down some of the private schools, and they made public schools bigger. Huh. Now, I mean, why?
And it costs more money.
I mean, if they want to pray in the school, I mean, it's a choice of. I know that it's a separation of religion and state, and in the Constitution.
No, actually, the only that was mentioned in a letter. And it involved Connecticut. There was a bunch. Connecticut was Congregationalist Protestants, and that's who ran the state. And most towns,
is that correct?
Most towns were Congregational churches, and
listen,
yeah. And so what they did, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, was one of the founders. I forgot exact. I don't remember the exact
constitutional.
But there was a Quaker, I think it was, in Connecticut, who was concerned that Connecticut, he'd be out. That it'd be. The new government will all be congregational. And the founding fathers sent him a letter saying, no, there's a line, a separation of church and state. The federal government, that's left up to the states. Now, it didn't say that you couldn't have religion in a state. Massachusetts, the first 10 or 20 years of America, after we had formed our private, separate country, the first, I read, I think it was 10 or 20 years, almost the majority of arrests and prosecutions were for people not paying their church dues. Mm-hmm. So, and there was an official church of Massachusetts. The federal government, however, would not have would not adopt a religion because that was left up to you and me, and the state could, but the states could. That's the thing. A lot of people don't think that whatever the federal government do, the states can't do. No, the United States Constitution very clearly says.
Yeah, to leave.
What's that?
Post lady.
Oh, it's right there in a bin. So it's very clear as to what the federal government is supposed to do, and then the state constitutions say what the states do.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. See, you don't need to go to City Hall to learn about politics. Just go. We're speaking today to.
I'm a political Steve Amato.
Steve Amato at Amato's Toys.
I'm the first to admit I don't have all the answers, but I do know a lot about history. And if people don't learn history, then like right now there's a big movement in America for socialism. I take it you're Polish. I'm kind of.
Well, are
you Polish or?
Yeah, but I'm a conservative liberal, you know.
Yeah, but I know a lot of Polish people came here to get away from the socialism was destroying Poland.
Oh yeah.
And worldwide, you can't find.
He would be picking potatoes out in the field at this time. I mean, what are you doing out here? Bolding hay or something?
Yeah, you can't find an example in the world of a large country where socialism has worked.
Yeah.
Because to me, and this is not politically correct, but to me, socialism is very appealing to people who aren't ambitious, people who are lazy. They want to share the hard work of somebody busts their butt and is real successful. Well, now it's not right. He's got too much. So I want to sit back here in the shade and sip my drink and and whatever, play cards, and then say, well, he's got too much, so he's got to give me some of what he's got. Well,
Yeah,
why?
yeah,
Why?
that's-
Why don't? No, I believe that nobody.
I say we stick him up for his toys today.
Nobody in America should starve or freeze. So there
Yes.
should be a way that
There is so many social programs.
But I should not be taxed for a lady to get her nails done. I was talking
Yeah.
with a woman in Middletown who owns a nail salon. She said half her customers are on state aid.
Yeah.
So we're being taxed so that some ladies can go get their nails done.
Why? I love to listen to you speak, but I want to get back to, I forgot the lady's name, but Trump brought her on as a the teaching administrator
Voss,
something.
yeah, she had a Secretary of Education.
I would not be able to repeat what she said, but I mean, it was very interesting what she had to say.
Well, she's a big believer in vouchers.
Vouchers.
And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about if
she-
you want to send your son to a private school,
But then she
then-
had
then
some
the
ideas,
money that
homeschooling and all this.
the money that the city is getting, the tax money that's going to pay him for his education at the high school or a school in Plainville where you live
Yeah.
should instead go to that academy or the private school. Now, if the private school's more, you got to pay them more. But
Yeah.
right now, the way it is the taxes are going to whatever school he's supposed to go to. And then you send him to another school, you got to pay that completely. And the other school still gets the money even though he's not going there.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned we're the 25th in the world. The problem, all those other countries that beat us, the parent decides where to send their kid to school. There's competition. So a school sucks. Eventually, nobody wants to go there. It goes out of business.
Yeah.
You know?
The commies really push their kids to, because I'm sure there are a lot
Well,
of.
why do you think? Why do Orientals? You go to most, an awful lot of schools. The valedictorians are usually Orientals, Indian from India. Are they inherently smarter? I don't think so. It's that their parents they don't accept coming home with a D
Yeah.
or an F. You know, and
Yeah.
they might not even accept a B. You'll have straight A's, or you're going to keep studying.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah. All right.
anyway,
all
I got to
Steve.
get some work
Steve?
done. Yeah, Steve.
It's been a
Nice to
pleasure
meet you.
speaking to you.
Nice
Nice to
talking to you.
Yeah, and we'll talk. We'll politics some later on, some other time. Thank you.